Kick versus Twitch. Many of you have probably heard, at least, ephemerally, about this weird new streaming platform that just kind of appeared and then stole several of Twitch's largest talents from right underneath their noses by offering them millions and 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 millions of dollars. Which is certainly a tactic, and hey, it's an effective one as well. Whether or not it will prove to be an effective strategy, however, well, that is something that only time will tell. But many have undoubtedly wondered, where the hell did this shit come from? And how did it blow up so suddenly and so quickly? Well, Forbes, one of the relatively few mainstream websites that I still at least have an ounce of respect for, have done a very good summary article, English Arch, of the whole thing, which is perfect because I intend to editorialize heavily on that summary, as I have quite a lot of opinions and thoughts around this entire thing myself, as the idea of a competitor platform, well, it's something I've discussed and theorized around quite frequently in the past, because we do need one, and Twitch sure as hell isn't it, as currently it's desperately trying to monetize its creators to the point where they themselves can barely actually continue to be creators. That is beyond the absolute top uppermost 0 point something percentage. And that is a platform with no future. If the only talent you have are the absolute cream of the crop, you are abandoning, giving up, and failing the 99% underneath there. That's not a good idea in the long term. So let's have a look at this as we give you all a brief interlude in the continuing discussion about AI, and how actors and writers are soon to be joined together in eternal harmony on the scrap heap of history. Which is going to be a frequent topic on this channel, I warn you now, as there is a lot of really fascinating things to talk about there. But before we wander off point, crypto gambling mogul Ed Craven is challenging the Amazon-backed juggernaut by offering superstar creators including XQc and Amouranth outrageous 8-figure contracts to join his new service. Yes indeed. Amouranth, the rather famous titty and bikini streamer, was offered $7 million annually with performance incentives that could see this rise to $30 million. That's a payday and a half right there for sitting around in your underwear all day, no doubt about it. It feels like I'm finally being recognized as a person rather than just a brand risk, says Amouranth, and this is a key and crucial point right here. Now, I might contend that rather than being recognized necessarily as a person, she's being recognized more as a fine pair of titties. But to be fair, that might simply be my own innate jealousy, because frankly, if I could earn $30 million in a couple of years by sitting around half naked, you bet your ass I would. Unironically. And she's entirely correct as well when she says that she was viewed as a brand risk. Now, this is the thing. Twitch has, for some mysterious reason, been clinging on with a deathly grip to this idea that it is somehow a safe-for-work platform, which it isn't. Twitch literally invented an entire genre of streaming, hot tub streaming, to excuse the idea of chicks sitting around in their bikinis streaming and chatting to teenagers. Honestly, Twitch, just give up. Just actually give up, okay? You know what you're doing. You're not under any illusions here. You're not confused about this. Just embrace it, goddammit. And Amouranth, as mentioned here, has been banned 6 times at least, and yet every time it's been repealed because they're like, we do need her to earn us money, though. Just dumb, retarded, in my opinion. Like, Your dreams of what you want your business to be, Twitch, is getting in the way of what your business actually is, which is probably one of the reasons why you're in so much financial trouble. Who was banned at least 6 times by the Amazon-backed Twitch for violating his terms of service around non-safe-for-work content, often without explanation. To be fair, nobody gets an explanation for why they're being banned, not on YouTube, not on Twitch, you're simply just Ito Deletoed. With such a lucrative new deal in hand, she is also unlikely to start playing the morality police now over Kick's connection to the offshore crypto-backed online casino Stake.com. Dignity is boring, Amouranth says, and expensive. I don't know if I agree with that one, but I do see her point, as one of the key points of controversy around this new streaming platform is its connection to gambling. The founder of Kick, which launched it in December, are quickly learning themselves. Craven and Bijan Tehrani, who owns the platform through their Australian-based company EasyGo, are also the founders of Stake, whose gambling operation licensed in I'm not even going to try, generated $2.6 billion in revenue in 2022. What is the fascination with slots machines? I, as a Norwegian, have no idea. Then again, I play gacha games for fun, so I suppose I shouldn't be preaching too loudly about that one. The company tells Forbes last year, Stake sponsors several popular Twitch creators to play its online slots for viewers, until October, when Twitch banned Stake and other unregulated crypto casinos across all its channels, citing the lack of consumer protection such as age verification. And fair enough, that is a good point, and might actually land Twitch in legal hot waters, as there are a lot of requirements for this sort of stuff, which is probably why it's based in Cracker, which I presume have fairly lax gambling regulations. Just, a wild speculation on my part. Craven, Kick's 27-year-old CEO, has said publicly that he's willing to spend aggressively to grow it into a creative-friendly challenger to Twitch, giving them the support and astronomical paydays Twitch does not. In addition to Amouranth's deal, Kick also lured Felix QXC Twitch's most watched streamer for each of the last 3 years, to its platform, with a 2-year contract of his own worth at least $70 million and further incentives, pushing it to $100 million, which, as they point out here, is more than LeBron James got signing for the Lakers. Yeah. Now this introduces us to the good old-fashioned wheel of social media and online content creation in general, where you need 3 core key ingredients, otherwise any platform will fail eventually, or at the very least become mediocre for all eternity. You need the audience, because the audience generates money, revenue via ads. You need the money to pay the content creators, who in turn bring in the audience, and so you have the spiral. Now, many platforms have tried to break this one by trying to either prey of other platforms, a la BitChute and Rumble, for example, basically sitting like gaping alligators, mouth open, hoping for YouTube to start banning more people so they'll have no other option. A optimistic and limited usability strategy, in my opinion. And Kick is now trying to do the same by forcibly creating 2 out of the 3. They've got the money because they have $2.6 billion in revenue. They've then got the talent because they can pay them whatever they're asking, and in turn, hopefully, that will bring over the audience. Now, it's not necessarily as easy as it sounds, as bringing your audience over from one platform to the other is rather difficult. Hell, bringing people from one YouTube channel to another is very difficult, as I've seen channels like recreate themselves or create even just brand name changes or new channel names will see like 70+% of their audience just like that, because people can't be bothered to go to the new account, or they're simply not paying enough attention to go to the new account, because, it was just one of many YouTube channels they kind of enjoyed, and they didn't pay that much attention. And Kick isn't done with its shopping spree. Craven recently said in an interview with creator Jake Lucy that he plans to spend at least another $100 million to lure others to Kick's upstart platform. We are into this to become the dominant streaming platform, he says. And certainly, they might very well have the capital to actually try and do it, since the other competitors right now, like Rumble probably being the most promising one, it's just... I don't know if it's because they don't have the money or the revenue, but it is a half formed platform that just it cannot form an algorithm to effectively drive viewership to it. It can't compete with the larger platforms on any real basis, and in reality it only exists yet again as an alternative to YouTube rather than a competitor, and that is one of my main gripes with all of them. They're all content with being alternatives, not competitors. And if Kick is willing to try to be the latter rather than the former, then Godspeed to them, though they have yet to truly prove that, of course. The question is how Kick plans to recoup its massive investment. Craven has said the advertisement will be its primary revenue stream, but Kick has yet to launch pre-roll or mid-roll ads, so they haven't set up any of the infrastructure yet. And to be fair, that is an enormous undertaking, because you basically need to create your own AdSense, and then go out to all of the companies to create contracts. It is probably better to hit the ground running now, finance it as you go, and then add on the monetization later once you've already lured a sizable quantity of the audience over. More perplexing is the revenue share Kick promises creator. Twitch, which reported revenue of $2.8 billion last year, currently takes 50% cut of subscription fees even, which is hilariously overdone, from its streamers, whilst Kick will allow creators to retain 95% of these fees. Now that is subscription fees, I presume, so we don't know about the revenue and share yet. But if we say that it's comparable to YouTube, for example, they'll only be getting 30-40%, which you're gonna need a lot of ads to be running to make that financially functional, especially if you are relying on the biggest creators, seeing as the previous streamer Amouranth was mentioned to have a combined total of potentially $130 million for 2 years. What do you do in 2 years' time? Do you simply just pull another 130 million out of your ass? Now, they could, but that is hardly a, how do we put it, sustainable long-term investment strategy. Since most businesses are, weirdly enough, designed to make money, or well, at least they used to be, anyways. In my experience, which is over 20 years in live streaming, there is no path to profitability or even a path to revenue, frankly, based on what we are seeing right now. And that is true, as right now they don't really have a revenue stream at all, which is what they're going to have to change. This is Marcus DJ Wheat Graham, a former head of creative development at Twitch and popular esports broadcaster. Now, to be fair, this is not a long-term path to creator revenue either. Taking 50% of subscriber cuts, again making sure that only the topmost percent can have a hope of being on your platform, that is a recipe for bleeding people to YouTube. And frankly, I don't even understand why Twitch still exists, honestly. The deals for XQc and Amouranth do not require either to participate or promote gambling in any way. This is a big deal as well. There's a lot of people can look at their connection with gambling and go, filthy, dirty gambling monsters. But if your contract with them doesn't actually require you to promote gambling, but merely to tolerate it, well, I don't really have a problem with that. You know, what other people choose to do with their money is frankly very little of my concern. According to their agent, Ryan Morrison, who confirmed they will be paid in dollars and not equity. The deals are non-exclusive, meaning they can still stream on Twitch, but Amouranth built a following of more than 6 million at XQc, nearly 12 million, propelling him to the 12th last year on Forbes' inaugural ranking of the world's top creators. Now, I will say this is incredibly generous and perhaps a little bit retarded from Kick. If you've got the monetary muscles to go, hey, come over here, you probably should ask for some form of exclusivity, as you do need, again, you need that audience part. You have to start moving that over. Otherwise, the two preceding will simply be ephemeral, because all of this works on money, and in turn, all of that works on the audience. You gotta start moving it over there. Here, by the way, we see the reason... it's... See, I'm not even questioning the functionality of the business strategy, nor am I morally condemning it. Like, this is literally the oldest form of produce for commodity. Yes, this is the oldest commodity on Earth, and she's making fine use of it. But it still just kind of amuses me. It's funny, okay? Just like the hot tub streams were, but at least Kick embraces it, which ranks them higher than Twitch in my opinion. So far, the expensive moves are paying off. Arguable. In the months since signing XQc, Kick has more than double its number of accounts. Well, if you double 0, it's still 0, and to be fair, Kick wasn't that low, but it was low. It's still by no stretch of the imagination comparable to the other platforms, even to Rumble. Nearly quadrupled its numbers of active streamers and increased its total hours watched by 44% to more than 84 million according to streams chart to date. That sounds a lot? It isn't. That's still 20 times less than Twitch's 1.7 billion hours watched last month, yes. But Kick is now seen as the most formidable and ambitious rival to Twitch dominance in the marketplace. Well, because it has the buzz about it right now. The reason why I'm multi-streaming to Kick right now, despite there being basically nobody over there, is because I am hoping that it will at some point become something, as they don't even really have an algorithm and system set up yet, which means that if you're not streaming what is currently popular on Kick, which due to its connections is gambling stuff, etc., you're unlikely to draw any kind of audience, and that is the big problem as well. What Kick and Rumble, if it ever wants to be a competitor, needs to do is create an alternative to YouTube where you can create a career. Because right now, if you're thinking about starting streaming, well, your only real option is YouTube, honestly. Seriously, like, okay, you can go Twitch, but do you want to work harder than you need to do on YouTube for less money with just the same tiny percentage of exposure? Why? It'd be stupid, frankly. And YouTube gives you better forms of monetization as well. And right now, you certainly wouldn't pick Kick or Rumble unless, of course, you are going to say and do things that will get you yeeted from those two other platforms, which you might be wanting to, in which case you don't have that much in the way of options. Kick isn't the first to challenge to Twitch live streaming dominance. Microsoft's platform Mixer made a splash in 2019 by signing Tyler Ninja Blevins to a multi-year deal reported to be some $30 million. But again, one entertainer does not make a platform. Then the largest contract ever for a gaming content creator. Less than a year later, Microsoft shuttered the service because, again, one content creator does not make a platform. Making a deal to move its users over to a newly launched Facebook gaming mobile app. Ugh. There's no terms of service over there. Kick creator Adin Ross told his viewers, "You guys can say whatever you want in my chat," and that is probably the single most appealing part of Kick. A completely censorship-free platform is of tremendous value to everyone involved, and also the main reason why, again, I'm interested in it, even though at the moment it is barely even a blip on the radar of actual platforms. And that will probably change once they start entering into advertisement deals. That is the problem, because advertisers have for some weird reasons believed that if their ads shows up on a content, it means people think they endorse that content rather than simply see it as a goddamn pre-roll ad. Which is of course exactly what it is and exactly what people see it as. People have been so thoroughly indoctrinated into what an advertisement is these days, they're not going to be mistaking it anytime soon. Google made the most competitive push into streaming space with YouTube Gaming, accounting for more than 23% of the live streaming market by hours watched in the last quarter of 2020. The platform signed multi-million-dollar deals in 2020 and 2010 for top creators including Dr. Disrespect, Tim the Tapman, Batter, and Rachel Barkley-Hosford to stream exclusively on YouTube. But by the third quarter, YouTube had just 16.2% market share and its hours watched had dropped nearly 40% for the year. Yes, again, you can spend the money short-term for short-term gain, but you need to build a platform. And YouTube is not a very welcoming platform in general, straight up. Kick will now attempt to create a viable business in a space where 3 of the largest tech companies in the world, Microsoft, Meta, and Google, tried and failed, and it will do so without the pre-existing benefit of Microsoft's cloud service infrastructure, Facebook's industry-leading online sales operation, or Google's video hosting experience. Even Twitch has never returned a profit before or after its acquisition by Amazon in 2014. The public companies we compete against are at a disadvantage in that they are beholden to shareholders whose primary focus is short-term profit, Tehrani says. Which is another valid point. If they simply aim to do this for 10 years and grow themselves into a proper free speech platform that appeals to you can do anything on this platform, they can kind of outflank all of them to, well, the right for once, by going, yeah, you want to talk about politics? You're welcome. You want to talk about Nazis? Go on. You want to talk about goddamn race riots in France? Be my guest. You want to show your titties on stream? Go ahead. Etc. And in all due likelihood, a platform where everybody is perfectly free will be the best platform, though you will need moderation internally. Now, that is primarily to 1. Comply with law, because the platforms are not above the law, and 2. To not scare off customers. You basically need to separate everything into groups and layers so that people can enter into it with an idea of what they're going to see. This is also necessary if you're going to be operating in the US, of course, because if you are serving, shall we say, content of an adult-oriented nature to children, many governmental agencies are going to have severe problems with you and your business model. And it's also just to deliver people what they want, an actual algorithm that suggests you things based upon what you are watching, rather than YouTube, who suggests you things based on what their algorithms would like for you to see. There are tremendous opportunities here for a long-term platform to grow and succeed, but it's not going to be an easy battle. Whether that kind of infrastructure and investment will be enough to curb Kick's reputation for questionable content, including nudity and gambling, in the eyes of advertisers remains an open question. And that really leads us back to the whole regulation thing. Advertisers will look at gambling and nudity and go, do we want our brand associated with this? As, again, as I've said so many times, today, as proven right here, advertisement, like all PR is not good PR. Only good PR is good PR, because getting PR is no longer the issue. Getting your name out there is not the problem for Coca-Cola, for Minecraft, for Adidas. The problem is to get people to not hate your fucking ass. That is the issue, as demonstrated ever so recently by Bud Light. It isn't that people suddenly forgot that Bud Light existed, it's that they realized that it was the spawn of Satan and needed to be stamped out. Simple as. Adding Ross to join Kick after being permanently banned from Twitch for using hateful slurs or symbols, became the platform's most popular streamer while broadcasting adult videos, copyright movies, and at one point even the Super Bowl with seemingly no repercussions. And that will have to end, because if there is one thing the companies don't like, it's violations of copyright. And just straight up actual pornography. Kick has made efforts since to clean up its product and limit abuse in its chat community. But signing XQc, self-proclaimed gambling addict, and Amouranth, one of the world's most popular OnlyFans creators, as the new face of the platform, will do little to reassure risk-adverse advertisers. In XQc's first broadcast on Kick, he live-streamed the movie The Dark Knight until a staff member came into his chat to tell him to shut it down, but no further action was taken. This is going to be an issue. And this is where we're going to have a very complex discussion about how much freedom is correct on platforms and how much is not correct. How much should copyright be allowed? How much should it be used? How much should it be enforced? And what should be the consequences for violating copyright? What should be the consequences for legal actions, etc.? Who has the responsibility, etc., etc., etc.? Every platform so far has erred on the side of, well, itself, at the expense of the content creators. If Kick manages to err on the other side, for example, like just simply a warning there, for example, okay, we've detected you are broadcasting copyrighted content, this isn't allowed on our platform, please stop. Perfect. Done deal. There you are. Nice and simple. Maybe even have it be so you can directly contact the content creator. Voila. But even then, you should probably be aware that streaming full-length movies, etc. is a bad idea. Presuming that's what he did rather than use clips of it. Kick's late signing Hamoudi Yasu Abdalrahman said in his final Twitch stream, "My Kick streams are going to be so much more unfiltered. His first included swiping on Tinder, video chatting on Omegle, and gambling on Snake, all activities not allowed on Twitch." And that might very well draw an audience in and of itself, in that it is rebellious, it's something new, because here's the thing, the whole including nudity and gambling thing scaring off advertisers, that is because the advertisers are still locked in the paradigm of prudishness, which has continued to exist throughout the periods of conservative Christianity into the period of left-wing Puritanism, which also condemns both of these things as well, whilst praising them when they do it, of course. And right now, the counter movement is, no, get a room, fuck off, eat my ass, we want to do whatever we want. And if that includes gambling and nudity, so be it. And at some point, the advertisers too will go, yeah, we're pro-gambling and nudity. At least that is the likely swing of this, as that tends to be how things turns out, but that might also depend on the wider political pendulum, as I do foresee a rather drastic swing to the right in the near future, which might again have a problem with aforementioned nudity and gambling. We'll have to wait and see, but I do have hopes, might be too strong a word. I have optimism for Kick. Whether or not that'll actually turn into anything, it's far too early to say. Talk to me again in 2 years, and we might have a little bit more data to go on, if Kick even exists, of course, in 2 years' time. But do let me know what you think in the comment section down below on alternatives, on Kick, and what do you think about their connection to the aforementioned bad activities? Because personally, I don't really care. Would I engage in gambling myself? Would I start gambling myself? And then I figured what I was going to say next, and then I figured I might not want to say that before somebody clips it and has fun at my expense again. Because I have no issues with either one of these. Again, do with your money whatever you wish, but that is a bit too much of a libertarian viewpoint in this particular day and age. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.